Akaza. Akaza, aka Hakuji, was born broke as fuck and spent his childhood stealing to buy medicine for his terminally ill father. But his father killed himself to stop being a burden. The depressed Akaza was then taken in by Keizo, who trained him in martial arts. Akaza slowly fell in love with Keizo's daughter, Koyuki, who was suffering from illness for a long time and planned to marry her. But for no reason whatsoever, a rival dojo casually poisoned the well-supplying Hakuji's dojo, killing both Keizo and Koyuki. Obviously devastated and super pissed off, Akaza killed 67 members of the rival dojo with his bare hands. His massacre attracted the attention of Muzan Kibutsuji, who transformed him into a demon. As a demon, Akaza lost his memories and became the upper rank 3 of the 12 Moon. Because of fragments of his human memories, Akaza refused to eat or kill women, despite being a demon. During his final battle, his lost memories returned, and he remembered Keizo and Koyuki. That's why he chose to stop regenerating, rejected Muzan's control, and allowed himself to die rather than continue living as a demon. Deadpool. Deadpool, also known as Wade Wilson, is a former Special Forces operative and mercenary who is diagnosed with terminal cancer. He volunteers for the Weapon X program, where scientists attempt to cure his cancer by artificially activating a latent mutant healing factor based on Wolverine's DNA. The experiment kinda succeeds, giving him super regen. But the regen is so powerful that it makes him immortal. The treatment also causes his cancerous cells to regenerate alongside his healthy cells, leaving his entire body permanently scarred. Deadpool dies many times across different comic storylines, but he almost always returns through his healing factor. His stories alternate between violent action, dark comedy, and tragedies rooted in his failed experiments, damaged mind, and inability to escape his regenerative curse. Eren Jeager. Eren Jeager from Attack on Titan lives inside the walls of Paradise Island, where humanity believes it is on the verge of extinction because of the Titans. On a random day, the Titans attack, and Eren's mother gets eaten alive by a Titan in front of him. To get his revenge, he joins the Survey Corps. He later discovers that he himself can turn into a Titan because he accidentally ate his father, who could also turn into a Titan. In later parts of the story, Eren learns that Titans originated from the power of Ymir Fritz, the founding Titan, and that the people inside the walls are Eldians, a race feared and oppressed by the outside world. Marley Nation has spent generations using Titans as weapons while preparing to invade Paradise Island to seize the founding Titan Eren. So, after realizing that his real enemy is Marley and not Titans, Eren starts the rumbling using the founding Titan's power, killing 80% of humanity outside Paradise Island. Eren became the world's greatest enemy, so the surviving nations would unite against him instead of destroying Paradise. His closest friends eventually kill him, ending the power of the Titans. But conflict between Paradise Island and the outside world continues long after Eren's death. Subaru Natsuki. Subaru gets suddenly transported from modern Japan to another world. Shortly after arriving, he discovers that every time he dies, he returns to an earlier point in time with his memories intact. A very fucked up ability known as return by death. He repeatedly gets his head, limbs, or even chopped off while trying to prevent astronomical disasters. But he cannot tell anyone about return by death because an unseen force crushes his heart or attacks anyone who learns of it. Yeah, at this point it's more like a curse than an ability. His ally is Amelia, who can apparently produce a shit ton of milk, is a half-elf. The Witch of Envy, Satella, is responsible for return by death and is deeply obsessed with Subaru, though the exact reason remains unrevealed. Throughout the story, Subaru accumulates knowledge across hundreds of unseen timelines that disappear whenever he successfully changes the future, leaving him as the only person who remembers the countless failed worlds. In an alternate route of the story, Subaru dies over 100 million times. Jesse Pinkman. Jesse Pinkman is a small-time potion manufacturer who becomes the business partner of Walter White after Walter is diagnosed with lung cancer. Jesse gets involved with violent potion distributors, cartels, and criminal organizations as the potion business grows. He tries to leave the potion trade multiple times, but is repeatedly pulled back by Walter's manipulation. Several people close to him die as a direct result of the potion trade, including his first girlfriend Jane, who is a potion addict like Jesse, and his second girlfriend Andrea. Jesse also kills someone for the first time because of potion business. Jesse turns against Walter after discovering Walter poisoned Brock to manipulate him. Walter then reveals Jesse's location to a criminal gang who capture him. The gang turns Jesse into a slave, forcing him to make potions for them for whole 2 years before Walter rescues him. Sekiro. Sekiro, aka Wolf, from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, is an war orphan found on a battlefield after Ishin Ashina's rebellion. He was adopted by Shinobi Owl, who raises him to be a master shinobi under the Iron Code, which means that he must obey his father even if it means betraying his master Kuro. Wolf is assigned to protect Kuro, the divine heir, whose dragon's heritage grants immortality and can bestow resurrection upon others. Many factions want to exploit this power. 3 years before the main story, Owl betrays Wolf by stabbing him from behind in an attempt to seize Kuro Kuro's immortality for himself. Before Wolf dies, Kuro forms the immortal oath with him, granting him the power to resurrect after death. Kuro's wish is to get rid of the dragon's heritage, so Wolf searches Ashina for methods to permanently sever immortality instead of allowing anyone to control it. To do this, he must obtain the Mortal Blade, a legendary weapon capable of killing immortal beings. Only someone who can resurrect can draw the Mortal Blade. Wolf dies the instant he unsheathes it, then immediately resurrects and claims the sword. With the Mortal Blade, Wolf kills countless enemies, which includes Owl, who has the audacity to tell Wolf to obey him after the betrayal. A giant fucking ape who shits in your face and throws his shit at you. The Divine Dragon, a literal god, and Ishin the Glock Saint, who uses a literal gun in a sword fight. At the end, after severing the immortality, either Kuro dies, leaving Wolf depressed for life, or Wolf dies after all the struggle. Hyakkimaru. Hyakkimaru is born during Japan's Sengoku period. Before his birth, his dogshit of a father, the feudal lord Daigo Kagemitsu, makes a pact with 48 demons, offering them his unborn son's body in exchange for prosperity, military power, and a thriving domain. So, obviously, Hyakkimaru is born missing most of his body. Then, to show his fatherly love, Daigo abandons the infant by sending him down a river because he thought Hyakkimaru is cursed. Then a doctor named Jukai rescues Hyakkimaru and builds him prosthetic limbs which conceal weapons. Because the demons possess his stolen body parts, Hyakkimaru regains one missing part each time he kills one of them. He travels across Japan hunting the demons while accompanied by the orphan Dororo. As Hyakkimaru recovers his senses and body, he also begins experiencing pain, fear, and other human emotions for the first time. Every demon he kills weakens the supernatural pact, protecting Daigo's land, causing crops to fail, disease to spread, and war to threaten the province again. Hyakkimaru eventually confronts his father and defeats the remaining demons. Denji from Chainsaw Man is broke like all of us and grows up in extreme poverty after inheriting his deceased father's debt to the Yakuza. To earn some bucks, he works as a devil hunter with his pet devil, Pochita, killing devils to repay the debt while selling his blood, organs, and body parts for money. The Yakuza eventually betrayed Denji by sacrificing him to the zombie devil, killing him and disposing of his body. But then Pochita sacrifices himself by merging with Denji's heart, reviving him as the Chainsaw Man hybrid, giving him the ability to transform parts of his body into chainsaws and regenerate by consuming blood. After defeating the zombie devil, Denji gets manipulated by Makima, the control devil, into joining the public safety devil hunters to fight increasingly powerful devils threatening Japan. Makima promises to fulfill all of his desires, so he even barks for her. Just when Denji starts to enjoy life a little, his friends gets killed one after another. Makima orchestrates the deaths of many of his allies, and ultimately kills Power, Denji's best friend, in front of him to break his will. Then he finds out that Makima manipulated Denji's whole life so she could separate him from Pochita and obtain the true Chainsaw Devil's power. But Denji finds a way to kill her and ends her manipulative ass. Denji then continues killing demons and becomes a hero loved by many citizens. The pain he goes through every time he transforms into Chainsaw Man is insane, but not as insane as you not subscribing.